And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Oh, that's right, baby. That's UFC 278. But you know what beats 278, Josh? 280. And this is the 280th episodes of the Weighing In podcast. We have passed the UFC. I don't know if it really counts, but I'm going to go with it. How you doing, brother?
I was doing good. I want everyone to hear this. John blew the intro, and Podcast Dave actually used the Josh Thompson intro song, and I was all for it. And then John blew it, and you said it was 218 for our
I thought he
weigh-in
said 218. I was
because
like,
Podcast Dave, even though he's from Scotland, doesn't speak a lick of English.
He doesn't speak one goddamn word of English.
He said 280, John.
280.
280. 280, not 218.
It's 218.
Oh, man.
Well, at least we know both of you don't watch the show back.
No, man. This is...
Josh just loads it.
True.
Good
presses
point,
pause.
Dave.
I
Good
do.
point.
Josh loads it, presses pause, and then scrolls down to the comments.
I play it through over and over and over just because I'm reading the comments. That's it. You guys,
Just
I
'cause
love
of
it,
the
man.
comments.
And because
love
he's
you
trying to
guys.
get ads to play so that you can get
That's
up the
it.
revenue.
I'm smart, man. I run it on every computer all night on just replay over and over.
Boom.
Look, there's a lot to talk about. You've got the UFC coming up. You got PFL over in the UK. There's some good stuff, man. There's some good fights. There's a lot of news, guys, that we just haven't been able to cover because there's been so much fight action. John and I were traveling. But there's a lot going on. And for once in the last, I'd say, month or two, we are filming in the evening instead of getting yawning Josh Thompson at like 4:30 in the morning to drop this thing to you guys at 8 a.m. East Coast time or 9 a.m. East Coast time. So we are feeling fresh. I just got some food in me and had some good workouts today. I'm feeling pumped, man. I'm feeling pumped. There's a lot to talk about. Talk a little bit about Bo Nickal. Talk about Shane Burgos and PFL. Talk about Dom and Angela Hill. 175, 190, the discrepancy in pay. I mean, not discrepancy.
Hold on. Why is there a discrepancy in pay there? There's not.
There's not. I'm
okay.
Okay, maybe I misused the word.
Okay, thank you very much.
You gotta know what it means, though. First,
Angela Hill deserves everything she gets. She has been there and been a freaking stud for that promotion.
I think Josh was just referring to the championship reign and all that stuff.
Yeah, kind of the championship money. That's what I was.
Yeah, that championship money went away when he lost the championship.
But we didn't also talk the other day either about Rory MacDonald and his retirement because the news dropped right after we got done filming at 4 a.m. So we wanted to basically go back through some news. There's a bunch of other new fight announcements as well. So this show is going to be packed. You guys are in store for some big stuff. And also, we've got the whole waiting on the odds because I know a lot of people in the comments, and I read them. I know John doesn't. But, Podcast Dave, I know now that he does because he's like, oh, yeah, people are so mad that we don't do it for all the shows and we don't do it, And so now I know Podcast Dave actually does read it. He just lies about it. Okay? At least I admit it. But we're going to talk about weighing on the odds at mybookie.ag with our promo code weighing in. So let's just jump right into it, John. Let's go with the PFL because they come first.
No. Okay, let's go with the PFL, but I'm going to go with the PFL and Rory MacDonald.
Okay, let's do that.
That is where Rory MacDonald has fought his last fight. And I just want to say that, look, Rory MacDonald has been an incredible fighter throughout his time. People don't realize, I believe that Rory's first fight, it was in Lethbridge, Canada, which is a place I've been to quite often. Lee Main has got a school there. He teaches MMA. His son, Jordan, great fighter. And I believe that Jordan and Rory, both at 17 and 16, I think fought each other. I'm not sure if that's his first fight. It's close, though, I believe. But then it would. What's that? Okay, third. Yeah, see that's Rumble in the Cage. That would have been up in Lethbridge. And man, you look back at both of those guys. No one would have had a concept of how good both of those guys are as fighters. But you got to give it up to Rory MacDonald. What a career he had. He put on some of the greatest performances at times that you could ever ask from someone. He showed you heart. He showed you will throughout his career. ups and downs. He did become the Bellator welterweight champion, so he became a world champion. All I want to do is say, hey man, congratulations on an incredible career. Congratulations on your retirement. You deserve it. I hope that you are, happy with what you accomplished. And I know that, you have so much left. Whatever you do next in life, if you put in half of what you put into the fighting, you're going to be a huge success. So God bless you and your family, brother.
There is, there's a lot that I can say because I've talked about this on this podcast. I don't know how many times, John, but there's fights in a career that people remember you for, but there's also fights in a career where you've left a part of your soul in there. You've left a part of you in that cage. And we can all sit here and say that it was the Robbie Lawler fight for him. He had some battles, he had some wars, and I remember the very first time I ever saw him fight was against Carlos Condit, where he whooped Carlos Condit's ass for his first fight. I believe it was his
first fight
debut
in the UFC.
UFC. He whooped his ass for 14 minutes and 50 seconds. He was beating him. And had that fight went the distance, he would have ended up beating Carlos Condit for his first fight. That's how much, I want people to remember this, that's how much the UFC saw, and they said, hey, this kid's really good, before he even got to the UFC. And they didn't just throw this young guy in there. He was 20, I think he was 20 years old at the time. He might have been 21. He was young.
He was young.
He was, I think, 20 or 21 years old at the time that he fought him.
Well, you could figure it out.
So 8 and 9.
No, you can figure it out. I can't do it with the math. Okay, but
21.
he was 20. I think
21.
20 or 21 years old. He was a stud right from the get go. We all, if you're watching that fight, you're thinking to yourself, and that was another fight that he left a little bit of himself in there at the very end at such a young age, and he still powered through and came out, fighting for the titles. Came up short.
Yep.
But John, there's moments in my career, not my career, there's moments in my life that I have in terms of MMA fighting and fighters and fights, and him and Robbie are at the top. When someone says, what are some fights that I can do? When I meet somebody on an airplane and they say, what's a fight that I can watch that would make me really want to watch it? That's usually the first one that comes out of my mouth. Usually the first one. Yeah. There's other ones in there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I can go on to it all. I can be a little biased and throw my second fight with Gil in there, but I lost, so I keep my mouth shut normally about that. But in terms of Robbie, in terms of Rory MacDonald, and I reached out to him and I told him, I said, hey, there's a lot of memories of me remembering fights, and you, my man, are right up there at the very top. It's been a pleasure to have been able to watch your fights, to be around you for some of your fights. He is without saying it disrespectfully, he's a dog. He's someone that will stand there and trade. He's one of the most talented, well-rounded fighters that ever stepped foot in the cage, and he deserves all the respect that anyone that could ever give him. He never talked a lot of trash. He did some crazy weird posts sometimes with was it the Lima fight where he had the guy in whatever, smashing someone's face or skull in the forest. It was pretty cool. But look, overall, never take anything away from him. He is a great person. He's a family man. He is someone that I would always tune in and love to watch fight. So I want to wish you a very good, happy retirement. Life after fighting is definitely so much fun. So much fun. And I believe that he's a very smart young man. I'm sure he's been good with his money. He seems like he's got a really good head on his shoulders. He's got a lovely family. And I want to wish him the very best in everything he does after fighting. So,
yeah, you talk about that. I just sent Dave a picture, and I don't know if he can put it up, but it's not going to, if I don't explain it, no one would understand what it is. But those are the bottoms of the shoes that I was wearing during that fight. And I got home, and you figure I walked, I took them off after the show, but I walked everywhere throughout the arena and stuff. Take a look at the blood on the bottom of those shoes. That is from that fight. That is a lot when you think about where I walked and everything. You could see how much was actually dumped out on that canvas. And that's both Robbie and Rory. But, both of those guys, that fight, there are fights, you have ones like Gotti Ward. That is a Gotti Ward of MMA. That fight that they had was just incredible. And it took two guys coming together with the right attitudes, the right wills to win, unbelievable skill sets, and just a never ending, I will not quit attitude that both of them had. I reached out and put something to Rory, saying, hey man, I just want to tell you, thank you for allowing me to be part of something special, because I was lucky to be the third guy in a fight that you and Robbie did that I'll never forget. So like I said, he's got so much left, and if he just puts half of what he put into his fighting career, he's going to be a huge success. So whatever it is he decides to do. All right, we got PFL again coming from Great Britain. I would say it's London, England. We got Kayla Harrison facing off against Martina. I'm going to say it wrong. Jindrova. Here comes the problems again. And this is why the PFL was trying to do a contract over social media with Chris Cyborg. But Kayla Harrison taking on Jindrova. It's the main event. I can't say anything bad about Kayla Harrison. She's a stud, tough, good fighter. They just can't find her good competition. Just being honest.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't pressure her to go to 145 as much as at 55. And so she's going to be fighting the same people, but she'll just be a little bit more depleted to make the odds a little bit closer. I don't know. I'm thinking of ways to make her fights a little bit more interesting to sell it to the public. Look, Kayla Harrison is the real deal. She's a very talented fighter. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that she has competition. She has none. She's no competition whatsoever. Not there. And we've said this over and over. There's two other females, okay, that can fight her. There's Cyborg and there's Amanda. That's it. That's all there is. 145? At 145.
At 145 or 155.
Yeah.
They can both go up to 155.
I honestly I'd like to see her fight Arlene Blanco too. That wouldn't be a bad fight to me. I mean, look, Arlene proved if she has a full camp, how she was able to get a full camp against Cyborg in that last one. Remember, she's got two kids, or she has a kid who's in college. She's got a younger son also, or finished his college already. She was never fully dedicated or not being able to be dedicated. Now that both children are older, she's been able to travel, been able to spend weeks on end at Jackson Wings, been able to really hit the improvements that she's been trying to. And I'm just throwing her name in the hat. Look, it's not going to happen, but I'm just simply saying, if the same Arlene showed up to fight, if she was able to get out of that first round, I could see it being a great fight for 4 more rounds. And so I'd like to see that. I'd like to see her thrown in the mix as well. There's a couple in there. Julia Budd.
Well, Julia's over there.
I get it.
They haven't made that fight. And Julia, she hasn't made it to where they'd want to because she lost her fight. I think she's only had the one. She may have had 2. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, John, there's not a lot there. There's just not a lot there. You know what I mean? So I would love. I'm going to sit there and continue to watch her fight because I want them to feel that she's continuing to get the support that she deserves. So we hopefully one day we can see that fight happen between Cyborg and her, or Amanda and her. I mean, I would love to see her go to the UFC, Kayla Harrison. I would love to see Cyborg or Kayla Harrison come to Bellator, or I would love to see Cyborg go to PFL and fight her there. Yeah. I know that both promoters are keen on doing cross promotions. It's happened several times, but I just wonder if it's going to actually happen. This is one of those moments where Dana White's not really involved. If you want to have Kayla Harrison and you want to have Cyborg fight, just do it. Neither promotion loses because they both understand that there's nothing really at stake. Yeah, because you really just get rid of the division after that. That's the only fight there is left to see in this sport at 145. There's no other fights to see. Maybe I'd like to see Amanda and Cyborg, but that's never going to happen. We're talking about Kayla Harrison. I'd like to see Amanda and Kayla. But if Cyborg beats her, then you're not going to see that. If she beats Cyborg, then you could potentially see that. How would they structure the deal? Would it be that Kayla Harrison goes to Bellator? Do they do a cross promotion? how Ryzen and Bellator they do a cross promotion for their fights? Is that what we see? What do you think we see?
I don't know. This is the only thing I know. It needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm being honest. I don't care if Kayla comes over to Bellator. I don't care if Chris goes over to PFL. I care that I get to see them compete against each other and do it now within the year. I don't want to see this drag out and then 2.5 years down the road, oh, now we're going to do it and things have changed and everything. Stop with all of that. Let's figure out, how it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, and make it happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm being honest when I say this. Kayla Harrison deserves, in my opinion, that type of competition. She deserves it. She has come out multiple times and said, the greatest words that another competitor could say is, look, I want to fight you. I have that much respect for you that I want to fight you to prove how good I am. What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a real, competitor wants to do. And I look at it and I go, all the bullshit aside, just make this thing happen. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if it's a PFL, make it a PFL. If it's a Bellator, make it a Bellator. It's not going to happen at the UFC. I'm just, knowing the way that's going to be. Dana's not going to do that, especially now that Amanda again is their champ. That's not going to happen. And so that's okay. But make it happen with Kayla and Chris. I think it needs to happen. I would just say the PFL needs to do it in a more competent fashion than doing it over social media.
Yeah.
That's all.
It was almost like trying to put him on the spot, but it's...
Yeah, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, but when you do things like that, right? Cyborg's still under contract. That's basically trying to poach. That could be a violation of contract.
Okay, no, it could be you are doing something that is not legal, basically.
Yeah.
You're going to end up getting a cease and desist letter from somebody saying, hey, you can't do that, stop.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, you can't do that. That's poaching somebody else's talent, yeah.
But call Scott Coker. Make it happen.
Yep, I agree. But look, all this stuff is a mute point if she doesn't get past Jindrova. So
you want to put dinner on this?
No. I'm not. See, John was trying to catch me in these dumb bets.
I know. No. I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you had said it in reverse, I go, no, thank you.
All right, but look, good luck to Kayla Harrison. It should be see how it really comes down to how she can try to get this fight to the ground.
Yeah.
How much of a difficult time will she have getting to the ground? Will we see ground and pound? Will we see a submission? Will we see what will we see out of her? Will we see her try to stand a little bit more? Who knows?
Well, maybe, but let's just be honest. Jindrova has 2 losses. One of those is based upon a scarf hold, Kezakatami from judo, which I think Kayla's pretty goddamn good with, same as Ronda used to use it. Normally we don't like to see it much in MMA because you can take someone's back but if you're really good with it and you can keep that person's back flat, not an easy position to be in. And I'm sure that Kayla has looked at that and gone, all right. Mm-hmm. It's all good.
Next fight, you got Chris
This
Wade.
is a fight.
This can be a good fight.
This is a fight.
Yeah.
This one
against
is
Brendan Lohnane. I want to say Lohan, but every time it's Lohnane.
Yeah, but I think he pronounces it Lohan.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. All right. Well, Brendan versus
Lohan.
Chris. Brendan versus Chris.
Brendan versus Chris. Perfect. That's the way I do
this is going to be Chris he is really in the last 2 seasons, even though he's come up short, he has gotten better every single season. It seems like he's right on track to winning this thing. He's just got to get past. He's just got to get into this finals. He's got to get past that finals. He's had a hard time in the finals the last 2 goes around, I believe. He's just been in that position where it hasn't gone his way. He's talented. We know he's talented. He's got good wrestling. He was able to out-wrestle Bubba Jenkins last go around last season. He just had some good dominant positions. And Brendan Lohan, he's just got to keep this thing on the feet and just stay long with it. You can't afford to be inside that pocket with Wade and then potentially getting clinched and taken down and bullied around and those type of things. I think he's got a good chance of staying long with his striking, and when you get into those clinches, make space, keep your hips away from his, and keep your back off the fence. It's a tough task. I'm going to be honest. It's a tough task for Lohan. It's a tough task. I got Chris probably being able to pull this one out. But look, Brendan Lohan's a dog. He's someone that he'll go ahead and throw down. He'll throw.
And he's got power.
He's got power. But he'll give it all he's got. And there's no quitting him either. He's someone that's going to be there. If Chris doesn't fight smart, Chris overlooks him at all, you should expect for Brendan Lohan to have a good round or good fight. And that's not where Chris needs to be. Chris needs to be dominating through this and getting on to the finals.
Yeah, not an easy thing to do, and not an easy thing to do in Brendan's backyard. You know, this is a fight where he's going home. He can have people there to spur him on and cheer him on. Chris Wade, I would tell you, the more complete mixed martial artist. Yeah. But Brendan has plenty of ways that, and like you're saying, if he can keep this thing long and make Wade shoot from the outside, not allow him to get into the clinch, not get into those situations where he's able to drop down into the legs, he's got a very good chance to win this fight. Look at the featherweight division for PFL. That's their sweet spot. They've got some really good fighters. Now they got them in other weight classes too, but overall, I would say it's their deepest weight class they have is the featherweights, and this is a great matchup.
And then you got Pacheco against Helena. How do you say her last name? Kolesink. Pacheco's looked good. Her last fight, she looked really good, and so
she's tough
for her to continue on what she's doing.
She's the only person that's taken Kayla Harrison twice. Gone the distance with her. Got lost unanimous decisions, but has gone the distance with her. I don't think that Kolesink has a lot to offer in this fight against Pacheco. I don't think her striking is strong enough. Grappling wise, decent, but not I'm just going to say Larissa Pacheco should be moving on and facing somebody in the finals. We'll see.
John is, how do you say his first name? Ryoji Kudo?
Kudo, yeah.
Kudo versus Bubba Jenkins. Now, I'm assuming that these two featherweights, these are the semifinals.
Yes, that's the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, you could potentially see Bubba Jenkins versus Chris Wade.
Chris Wade, yep, absolutely.
They had a tough Russian guy there last year or the year before. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
The one that beat Chris Wade.
He won.
Where did he go?
I'm not positive. I didn't see him this year in PFL.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
I don't recall seeing him either.
His name was, that's it right there.
This one right here?
Yeah, Movlid. See where he's fighting. Pull him up real quick.
Yeah,
that was his last fight, so maybe he got hurt.
19-0. Interesting.
Yeah.
Movlid.
He's good.
Yeah, he's real good.
He's stud. Yeah.
It was real good. It was throwing me off to see him have such a dominant performance against Chris Wade last year, and I was wondering what happened to him.
You figure he beat both Chris and he beat Brendan before that.
Yes.
So
yeah. Good stuff. So but Bubba could end up potentially being in the finals against Chris Wade again. So that can make for a fun, action-packed fight. What we saw last time was the two of them wrestling each other to death. I mean, Bubba had just come off of his win of out-wrestling Lance Palmer and then fought Chris, and then Chris out-wrestled him. And it was more of a dirty style of wrestling.
I thought he had one between that.
Who, Bubba?
He? Yeah.
I don't think so. Oh, Chris or Bubba?
No, Bubba.
I don't
Go over to Bubba real quick. Didn't he have one between Lance Palmer?
Did he?
I think so.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Bobby Moffett.
Bobby Moffett. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My bad.
It's okay. I'm just making sure that we're
still
covering
trap memory for that old man. There you go.
Because what's going to happen is someone's going to call you out in the comments saying, Josh, he fought Bobby Moffett. See, now it's covered.
You know what's funny is those
we just
guys
took one comment away.
Hindsight's 50-50. All they do is go back and they start looking it up. Oh my God, I knew I was right. You're also the one guy who's friends with Bobby Moffett too. That's why.
That's it.
Oh man, it's great. But look, that should be a good fight. I don't know anything about Kudo. Maybe you do. I'm sorry, I can't speak.
I have
much
watched
on him
fight.
Okay, I don't recall watching him fight. But Bubba, go ahead.
Good submission, good stand up. He's well rounded. Bubba's got the wrestling, no doubt. He's the better wrestler. He can keep the fight where he wants. Mm-hmm. It's just a question of how comfortable is Bubba on the feet against Kudo. We're going to find out. I honestly think he's going to do well in the fight.
Bubba or Kudo?
Bubba.
Okay.
He'll do well in the fight.
I think Bubba's going to be fine. His confidence seems to be coming around. He's been getting some close fights. He's been dominating some fights. His loss last year to Chris Wade, it wasn't a domination, but there was some good scrambles in there. But Chris did I think
pulled ahead in the end. He got tired. Bubba got tired.
Yeah, and that's been a little bit of Bubba's history.
Yeah,
and
it could happen in this one.
Doesn't utilize his wrestling as much as he should because he is afraid of getting tired. He's a stud, man. He's that guy that just, he's right there and he can live up to his potential. He's just hasn't quite got that big stage yet, that big top fight. So he's that guy, man. I wish the best for Bubba, man. I like him as a person. Good guy. Any other fights on this card you want to talk about? I know I want to talk about one is the Marcin Held and the Miles Price. Miles Price is trained at AK, so I know him. Yep. I roll with him quite a bit. He's tall, long, and lanky for the size, for the weight class. He's a little bit of he's real frustrating kind of because he's kind of awkward. He can take a shot too. He's got a pretty good chin. His grappling's a little bit better than it comes on to be. I've trained with him and grappled with him and go, man, like I've had him caught in so many submissions, but you got to be careful with him, understanding that he doesn't tap easy. And so if you blow yourself up, he'll still be there at the end. His conditioning and cardio is pretty good. He's a tough fighter. He's not great in any one area, but he's enough to get you fits.
But he's good everywhere, good enough, and he is mentally tough, and he stays in the fight, and he mentally breaks people down, and he wears them down, and he comes up with the win, and he's a good fighter.
True story, John. First time I ever sparred with him, right? We were doing some sparring with in the red room, which is like the lighter sparring. And I was just piecing him up. I'm like, dude, this guy's slow. He's not this. He doesn't hit hard. But he just kept walking forward. And I wasn't in tip top shape. I was like just kind of getting back into getting back into training after I think I had fought. And he just kept walking forward. I was hitting him with knees. Knees that would normally drop people and I'm like, this guy just kept coming forward. So I finally just took him down. I was like, all right, I'm done standing with you because you can take a shot and you don't seem like anything. And so started ground and pounding him, hammer fisting him. I was like, and he just kept trying to shoot submissions and he's long. So he likes to hit that, he likes to come underneath to try to attack leg locks and he used that to get on top. And I was like, man, this son of a bitch, he's tough. He's tough. Like, he don't look the part. He's very nice, very respectful. But I just remember at one point after he had got into a leg and he ended up getting on top. I got stuck on bottom for about a minute and a half. I was super pissed. So I got back on top and I just remember pushing him to the fence or to the wall and just letting go some heavy ground pounds. I'll show you. I didn't know who the fuck he was. Never heard of him before. I remember my life. I just started hitting him a little bit harder than I should have been. But I was laying down some leather on him. And then I remember helping him up after. I'm like, man, I'm sorry, dude. You frustrated me. He's like, yeah, I have that effect sometimes on people. And then later I hear the story that he came over because he apparently, the whole Khabib in thing happened. I guess whatever. He came, that made him out to be this total thing. And so it was kind of right around that time where he's like, yeah, I was training the SPG and then now I'm here and there's a lot of, hate towards me. And I was like, hey, it makes you feel better, man. I don't know who the hell you are. I didn't know, but I could see why. You're frustrated as hell. I was so pissed. I was like, who is this kid? But go ahead.
He does need to look out for the leg locks against Held, though.
Yes. But he is. But Marcin Held's good. But look, we've talked about this.
Taking too many shots.
Not just taking too many shots. When someone has figured out how to beat you, it's a pattern, and people now have figured out how to beat you.
Yep.
That's it. Once they have seen that what you bring to the table and what you offer, they don't change. They don't steer away from that game plan. They just stick with it. Stay long. Keep your back off the fence. Defend the takedown at all costs. Defend the submission attempts at all costs. Get out and away from you. It's easier said than done, I know, but if we can survive that first 2.5 minutes of your leg lock onslaught, we're good. Once the sweat bears on, we're good. No, we don't have to worry about the rest of it. Yeah. And that's that's been the MMO for a lot of the people that have fought Marcin Held.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll see if he'll carry on with Miles.
You can go back into Bellator when he was there and he fought Michael Chandler there. And he had Michael Chandler in a straight knee bar that was on, cranking. Chandler was just tough enough to put up with it, finally get out, and all that gas of trying to get that leg lock, secured and everything. Marcin has the tendency, he's a fast twitch guy and he tends to burn out pretty quick. And as soon as his arms get heavy and his legs get heavy from trying to hold on, things start to go downhill. So the real thing here is, Miles Price, like he did with you, he just needs to frustrate him, let the fight get into the later rounds, drag him into deep waters. That's the game plan on beating Marcin Held, and it's worked.
One other little guy I'm going to give a shout out to, because maybe you don't remember him. I don't think you do. You don't call his fights. I started calling his fights in the earlier Bellator Euro series. Is Uchegbu. He's 6-0. Good jiu-jitsu guy. Very tall. He's kind of tall, long, and lanky. Real toothpicky looking for it for the weight class. But he's really good submissions. Good. He's very aggressive. Comes real aggressive with the submission attacks nonstop. Good little fighter. Not great on the feet. It's okay. But he's got great transitions from the wrestling to the submissions, and he'll go and go. 6-0. I don't know anything about his opponent, who is apparently Zabezu Ruiz. So, but I don't know anything about him. But he seems like he's got a little bit more experience. 10-3. That's a lot. That's quite a bit, double the amount of fights. So I mean that should be. Uchegbu is just fun. If you're looking for someone to kind of watch on the ground, see for an exciting finish in terms of submissions, check him out. That's going to wrap up our PFL talk. And so let's jump right into the UFC, bud. Ooh, here we go.
So just so you guys know, for UFC, we'll be doing we're talking about the 5 pay-per-view fights, and then we'll talk the fight, preview it, and then we'll talk odds after the fight. So
I'm talking odds at the beginning, just to piss people off.
No.
Come on, Dave.
You're banned.
You're banned.
So what Dave was trying to say, for those of you guys that don't understand his English, we're going to break down the fight on how we think it's going to go, and then we're going to give you guys our input on if you're going to, once we look at the odds, on which way you might want to lean. And look, we're not saying that fighter is going to win. What we're saying is, for the odds that they're presenting, it's probably a good chance that you should bet on that fight, because there is maybe a potential upset. Because I can go through this. I'm going to actually go through this with Leon and with Usman. I'm going to talk about it. But let's talk about first the main event. Let's go right into it. Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. John, give it to me, buddy. Tell everyone at home about what you have seen since the first time they fought and what you have seen now in terms of the progression. But also, when you look at the guys that Usman has fought, and you look at the guys that Leon has fought, and where they're at now, where do you put them at? This show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. John, we've got some big fights coming up this weekend, and the fight that, of course, I'm looking forward to the most is Paulo Costa versus my boy Luke Rockhold. We're going to break down those odds later on in this card, and I cannot wait to talk about this fight and these betting odds, because there's a lot going on these betting odds at MyBookie.ag. Use our promo code WeighingIn. They're going to give you a little extra spending cash when you use our promo code WeighingIn, and you guys can thank us later. We're going to take 10% of everything you guys make, okay? Just make sure you send it to us through Venmo. We'll give you our Venmos also.
That's right.
But first, you guys, none of this can happen unless you guys go to MyBookie.ag, use our promo code WeighingIn, and make sure you guys listen to our Weighing In on the Odds, man. That's how we all get rich, and we get 10% richer when you guys win, and that's what we're here to do. At MyBookie.ag, use our promo code WeighingIn.
Let's put them both where they belong. These are two of the best welterweight fighters in the world, no doubt about it. Usman is the best welterweight fighter right now in the world. And you're looking and saying, I think that first fight that they had, Usman came in. At that time, he was almost a pure wrestler. He was looking to take you down. He was looking to do ground and pound. He did not like to be on his feet for too long. And at the time, Leon Edwards, he didn't have crap for wrestling. His wrestling pretty much sucked. He just didn't understand some of the basic concepts of how to stop someone, especially someone as good as Usman was in the wrestling. And he just got taken down time and time again, and he got mauled by a guy that, he didn't understand how to get away from him. But that fight did a lot for Leon Edwards in that it changed Leon Edwards. It changed the way he trained. It changed what he was going to do. And he became a damn good grappler. He became a good wrestler. He understands what he needs to do now. He's a completely different fighter, same as Kamaru Usman is a completely different fighter now than when these guys matched up. How many was it? 8 years ago? 7 years ago?
Jeez, something like that.
Something like that. I mean, it's been a long time, but I've heard so many people, Usman's going to run through him. I don't think he's going to run through him. Leon Edwards is too good of a fighter. He is fast. And this is one of the things that people, when you are a good wrestler and you want to time things, when you're facing someone that is dangerous in the stand-up and really fast, it slows you down in making that move because you're not sure if you're being set up at that time. Is this the right time? And you hesitate. It's no different when Logan Storley fought, Michael Venom Page. The one thing Logan, we just spent time with Logan, and, I had talked to him before, and he said, John, I've never, ever in my life, even in, wrestling, you'll make moves and guys move fast. He goes, he was the fastest person I've ever seen in my life. He goes, he covered distance so fast, and he was so quick with some of the things. He goes, at times I was like, I got to really be careful here with, what I'm doing, because this guy moves and he moves at a speed that I am not used to. I wasn't able to get people that could mimic this speed, and I'm not quite used to it. He goes, man, it was a problem for me. That's Leon Edwards. He's got that kind of speed too. So I look at this, it is a great matchup. You can't ask for a better fight. Both of them, Usman has never lost in the UFC. I think Edwards has one loss? He's got the draw with
he's got 3.
Bilal. What's that?
He's got 3.
He's got 3 losses overall. I'm saying in the UFC.
Okay. Yep.
In the UFC.
In the UFC, he's only got Kamaru Usman, right?
Bilal's a no contest.
No, hold on. Go back. He might have had one earlier.
Claudio Silva.
Okay, Claudio Silva. I was in the UFC. Okay. Mm-hmm. Split decision. Okay. And so he's got 2 losses in the UFC, we'll say. Mm-hmm. But, man, he hasn't lost in a long time. That fight that he had with Bilal Muhammad said a lot, because Bilal Muhammad's a good wrestler. Mm-hmm. He's got good takedowns, and if you look at the way that he was able to take Vicente Luque down, it tells you, look, Bilal Muhammad is good. And in that fight that he was having with Leon, it wasn't easy for him. He was having a hard time. Yeah, it got stopped on the eye poke, and that stuff can happen. But I look at this, 10, this is, I want to say they're both on over 10 fight win streaks. I know that, Kamaru is for sure, but Leon would be close. And so
9 plus a no contest. So
okay.
9 wins and then a no contest.
Yeah. You can't ask for a better main event. You can't ask for a better championship fight. I think it's, as good as the UFC can put together in this weight class. This is I know everyone loves Colby, and Colby's, fun to watch. This guy in Leon Edwards has got more skill. He may not be the wrestler that Colby is, but he's definitely a better striker. Mm-hmm. And now his wrestling has come up, and we're going to see how much it has against Usman, because if Usman decides to be the striker in this fight, he's making a mistake, Josh. That's a mistake that he does not need to lead himself down to. He needs to be the complete mixed martial artist. Use your wrestling. You've beat him before. Go back to that blueprint because it worked the first time. I'm not saying you have to shoot him, the same way, but somewhere in there, you got to be looking towards getting that takedown and ground and pound.
Well, first I'm going to talk about the fight. Okay, I'm going to talk about the fact. I'm just going to talk about the fact that Kamaru Usman's wrestling pedigree is way better than Leon's. We saw that in the first fight. There's no doubt. Okay, the striking I'm going to give to Leon, not just off the speed, but the ability to put the combinations together and not just boxing centric. Because if he gets into a boxing match with Leon, he's going to get pieced up. Now, I'm not saying with the power that Usman possesses that he can't knock Leon out. We saw Leon get hurt against Nate. So we know it can happen. But that can happen with anybody when you're fighting the top 1 and 2 guys, top 1 and 5 guys. That could happen with any of them. So you can't overlook either fighter. But Kamaru Usman right now, there's a couple little things that kind of concern me. Never has it been his talent and his ability to wrestle and now learning how to strike and put everything together. His fight IQ is probably some of the best in the game. He's with the right camps, He's making sure he was with Sanford. Now he's with
he's still training at Sanford.
He is not as much.
He goes back and forth.
Yeah, not as much, but and he's getting more one-on-one time, which is what he needs when you're the champ, because a lot of people are scoping on you, always trying to figure out what you're doing. They're always trying to steal what you're doing. They're always trying to figure out ways to beat you, game plan for you, those type of things. And Kamaru Usman is very smart about all of those things. He's made the right moves in his career. John, they are completely different fighters, like we said, from the first time they fought. Leon is a lot better grappler now. He's a lot better defensive wrestler now. He's a lot better at getting up off the bottom. His submissions off of his back are pretty damn good now, as well as his control and top control when he's on top. I would not be, just to be honest, I would not be surprised with his speed and his wit and what he did to who was the kid from Iceland? Hunter. Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah.
And I know he was able to take Gunnar down at will, and that's different levels of wrestling. I get it. One's more comfortable on being on their back, that type of stuff. But I'm simply saying that was an evolution of Leon Edwards, of getting takedowns, controlling the top position, attacking the Kimuras, attacking submissions. Those are all things that he wasn't doing before his loss to Usman.
Couldn't do it.
You could see the change in his attitude. The thing that I'm going to go a little bit off track, but I'm going to go a little bit in a direction that most people probably are not expecting me to, is that Usman right now is at the top of his game. Mm-hmm. But John, when you get to the top of your game and you've had so many wins and so much success and you're the champion, it gets kind of lonely up there at the top, and you start thinking about other things like the 205-pound division. He just did another interview talking about, no, I'm for real. I'm talking about going there. You've got, and I'm going to be honest, outside of Colby Covington, Leon Edwards is the toughest fight he's had since the last time he fought Leon Edwards. I look at everybody else that he's beaten, Masvidal, all these other guys that he's beaten. They're not on the level of Leon Edwards.
Nope.
Only Colby Covington is. And they're way different styles of fights. Yep. Way different styles on how you fight those fights. And so I can't count Usman out. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. I'm simply saying, is he focused on the guy in front of him that he has already beat? Or is his eyes wandering to that next goal? And that happens. That happens quite a bit. People don't realize how difficult it is to stay the man.
To maintain that focus.
To maintain. It's easy. And what you have is a hungry Leon Edwards who's been waiting, and the UFC's been making him wait. He's like the pit bull that you've been had in a cage and just jabbing him with a stick, getting ready to fight him. That's what he is right now. And Usman's Rocky in number 3. That's what Usman is right now. He's like the guy that came out that was getting ready to fight Clubber Lang. That's the feeling. That's the feeling that I get. You can't flip the channel without seeing Kamaru Usman without his shirt off. I'm a little jealous of that body, by the way. It was my little body.
If I was looking like Kamaru, I might be just
shirtless,
wearing a jacket too.
Every day. I would be just a sleeveless jacket all day, along with it all buttoned down, gold chains. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But John, am I right, or do people see what I'm saying, or am I really just kind of, am I being a negative Nancy?
No, you're not being. It's something that comes with being the champ, and it's difficult because, again, we've said it before. You've got that target on your back. Everybody wants you, and you look at, and there's going to be guys that get you excited. I actually think that Masvidal got Usman excited the second time too. There was some, all right, I got something to prove here. And you saw it in his performance. You saw what happened. And I look, and this is a guy he's beat already. Does he have that same motivation that he had after beating Masvidal once? Does he have that same motivation looking into Leon Edwards? For whatever reason, Josh, I don't know what it is. People tend to look past Leon Edwards. It's, the UFC has looked kind of past him. It's I don't know if it's because he doesn't have the big bravado in the talk or anything like that. He's well mannered. He, every now and then he'll open up his mouth and go after something he kind of did with Masvidal in the back of the one thing. But he just is that guy that people tend to overlook. He's freaking good.
Yeah. John, here you can say, look, Usman was motivated for Masvidal because Masvidal was a big name. If I starch this guy, if I beat this guy, dominate this guy, then then the answer, look, the recognition comes with all this. The more publicity, the more commentary jobs, whatever it is, the more sponsors come in. Beating Leon, which is, I've already beat him.
Yeah.
This is what, I don't want to say it's a gotcha fight. The motivation was there from Usman because of the name value after he beat Ben Askren. The name value was there. But fighting Leon, I've already beat him. And I'm looking for bigger goals. I'm looking for that 205-pound title. I'm looking to let them know that I can out-wrestle them. I can dominate them. He wants to jump weight classes.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have a little criticism on that. He's like, hey, I've never seen anyone jump weight classes. Did you forget about BJ Penn? How he jumped multiple weight classes several times? And he got wins in those weight classes too. I just wanted to say that real quick. But no, I love Usman. I get concerned that he's like, I've already beat him. I'm already looking at 205. A little bit, Leon hit it a little bit. There's a little difference in his bravado, the way he carries himself now. He used to be very, he's not cocky. He's always
used to be a little bit more reserved.
Reserved. There you go. He's not cocky. I don't know. Look, there's no difference in confidence and cocky.
He should be a little bit cocky. He's confident.
Yeah, he's confident.
He's confident, and he should be.
Yes, but you hit the nail on the head with the word reserved. He used to be a little more reserved. He used to wear, more clothes. I love it so much.
I can't blame him for that one, man. You put the time into getting that body. Go ahead, show it, baby.
Yeah, so I think the two of them is going to make for. I think it's going to be a lot closer of a fight than people think.
Yeah.
Leon's going to have to make sure he gets his hands back to neutral position. Make sure he's defensive, not just be offensive. I would not be surprised if Leon tries to get a takedown or two in terms of the exchanges. If he can get, because of the speed difference, which there will be a speed difference on the stand-up, if he can get Usman to throw and react, or if he can feint and get Usman to throw and then come underneath and get a takedown, the speed of the entrance, all of those things. I know the wrestling doesn't start until you get it on the hips. Okay, and Usman's fantastic in those areas. But don't be surprised if he's able to get one, maybe two takedowns against Usman. We have yet to see Usman on his back. Have you seen him on his back?
Nope.
I think he has 100% takedown defense.
Yep.
100% takedown defense. But I would not be surprised if Leon doesn't try to put him on his back and make him realize that, oh shit, this is for real, early in the fight. And I'm not saying he's going to continue to do it the rest of the fight. I'm saying he's going to make him think about it early. If you're not taking me serious in this first round or second round, you're in for fucking a fight for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
That can start messing with the champion's mind.
And I do think it's going to go in those championship rounds.
It will. I think it absolutely will. Yeah. Absolutely will. But look, before we move on to the next fight, let's go ahead and break down these weighing in on the odds. Let's see what MyBookie has to offer.
Ooh.
What are they looking at right there?
Minus 400
gee.
for Kamaru Usman and a plus. I've never seen it go to plus 296. It's usually 295 or plus 300. It's a plus 296. Okay, whatever. That's a new one for me. I'm sorry.
Okay. And it says
the over or under is at 4.5. Over, meaning it goes the distance. You're at minus 158, and the under is a plus 129.
Well, there's a couple ways to break this down, John. I'm going to go ahead and bet, and like I said earlier before we started this, I'm going to bet on Leon, but that doesn't mean that I think Leon's going to win. What I think is that Leon's got such a chance of getting the win. He does it with the speed and the hands and the quickness.
Yeah, Usman, I put $100 down to win $300. Yes,
exactly. I'm going to take that bet. I'd rather take that chance in making that and getting that win. The other thing as well, if Leon does win, you might as well bet a little bit of money on the under because he's going to have to finish him. I don't think he's going to win a decision.
I agree.
So if those are the two ways I'm playing out on this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to bet maybe $100 on the win, okay, for him and win the 296. And I'm going to probably bet $50, $20 on the under, whatever it is. But I think that's the way it's going to have to go.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I'm not saying that Usman's going to win. I'm not, and you're agreeing that you're not saying Usman's going to win either.
Usman is definitely the favorite. And if you're going to ask me, look, who do you think is going to win the fight? I think Usman has the best chance of winning the fight, but don't count Leon Edwards out.
Exactly, I agree with you because there's no way that I'm going to bet the minus. I'm not going to bet 400 to win 100 against Usman.
I would just rather not bet.
I'm not going to bet that. Yeah, I'd rather not bet. All right, let's go ahead and go into fight number 2, which is Luke Rockhold and Paulo Costa.
Man, there's been some talk about this fight. Luke is getting people fired up. I love that.
Oh, John.
A lot of talk about Luke is not sparring. Luke is not training hard. People. Luke Rockhold right now looks like a monster. Now, so does Paulo Costa, but Luke Rockhold looks as good as I have seen him. Josh, you've seen him in person, right? Dude, He is in shape. He looks fantastic. He took a picture with Jason Perillo, Mackenzie Dern, and Cheeto Vera, and I was like, he looked like he was freaking 230 pounds. And you told me that he was only like 10 pounds off weight.
Yeah.
I mean, he was right there already. So he looks fantastic. The whole thing with the sparring, Josh, is just ridiculous in that, look, there are people out there that spar a lot. Sean Strickland being one. That's his way of training. But if you're going to ask anyone that is part of this world and does training or trains people, they're going to tell you that's not the smart way of doing it. Now, there are guys that can do it and survive within it. Sean's one of them. Luke's not one of them. And Luke should not be doing a lot of heavy sparring. Luke should not be getting hit real hard when it doesn't count. He has already proved, look, he can work in the stand-up. He's going to have to work very hard to stand-up against Paulo. Paulo has the advantage over him in the stand-up game. It's all going to come down to that wrestling. Can he use his wrestling to get the takedown against Paulo Costa, get to the top position? If he does get the top position against Paulo, he's got a very good chance of winning. He's phenomenal from that top position. So, great fight.
The reason why you talked about the sparring, because so people that don't understand this, is that apparently there were some comments out by Michael Bisping, who trains with him at Ruka, and the comment is that I have yet to see him spar. Dave, can you look up this quote? I want to make sure that I'm. But then it goes on to say
But that doesn't mean that Michael is putting him down for that.
No, and that's exactly what it was. The quote stopped there, but people continue to say that, he's not taking it serious. He's not this. I didn't read the quote, the rest of the quote that said that's what Bisping said. All I saw was he had yet to really see him spar at Ruka. Well, I want you guys to know, he doesn't spar at Ruka. He spars at Sanford MMA, which is now known as Killcliff MMA. So he spars there, down in Florida, and he spars at AKA over there, where people that he has been sparring with his whole career are part of the conversation because they know what he is like when he is on. So he's getting breakdowns from them with the people he has worked with.
See right there, look at him. He's going, look, I got a belly like Big John.
So whatever Bisping said, that is not a dig from Bisping to Rockhold. They're friends now. They I wouldn't say they're buddy, but they've worked together. They
have the same coach.
Yeah, they have the same coach. I mean, like they're very compatible, I guess you could say, now at the Ruka facility. There is nothing that he said that was a dig. Can you read it to me in English?
Yes. So Bisping says in an English accent, I wasn't going to say any of this stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't going to say any of this stuff. Me and Jason Perillo are obviously very, very close. He tells me some things, and I don't want to betray the circle of trust, so to speak. But what good is it me being on here and knowing all this stuff but not saying it? No, I'm not going to spill the beans. He's been training, but there's been good days and bad days. He hasn't been consistently pushing himself throughout it. One of the things that Jason says is obviously he's looking good here and good here and there, but he hasn't been sparring enough. Sparring is key. I think Rockhold needs to spar. I think he needs to blow off some of those cobwebs.
And like I just said, his sparring is not there at Ruka. His work at Ruka is mainly with Perillo to work on the techniques. He does the light sparring with the pads, working on the drills, working on the techniques. That's where he cherishes Perillo's technique. You know, anyone that's gone and worked with Perillo understands he's a fucking mastermind when it comes to working with you on the mitts and really touching up your technique. Keep the right hand up. Okay, let's keep that elbow down a little bit more.
Also very good at breaking down your opponents and where they make mistakes and have holes that you can take advantage of.
And so it just was read in the headlines, that clickbait shit that most people like to put. And Podcast Dave is a culprit of that on our Clips channel. Okay, it's simply that Bisping didn't say anything wrong. Bisping did exactly what, hey, his concerns are. We'd like to see him spar more. And look, and anybody during fight camp, you have your up days, you have your down days. Okay? It's fucking like your dick. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. This is how this shit works in life. All right, but the bottom line is he has been training. He's done some sparring at Sanford. He's done some sparring at AKA. But on top of that as well, this is not the only training. He still goes to jiu-jitsu places and trains jiu-jitsu. He's still doing a little bit of wrestling here and there at some local facilities that he likes to go and wrestle at. He's putting in all the work. I want to see how his transitions are, though, from the striking to the wrestling to the jiu-jitsu, because I have yet to see him in any training sessions like how GSP used to do it. GSP didn't get to go to one place after he left Greg Jackson's or TriStar or whatever he's doing. He was bouncing from place to place to place. But you need to find a location at the very end of your camp to put it all together. And I haven't yet seen that from him, but maybe that's what he's been able to do with sparring. I agree with him not sparring. I agree with him not sparring every day. He spars maybe once a week or once every other week to figure out if he's made any advancements. But he's constantly, you can't look the way he looks. The same way with Paulo Costa. You can't look the way those guys look, that lean, that shredded, without putting in the work. They both look fantastic.
Yep.
They both look incredibly good. Now, and just because Luke's my boy, I've got to talk about Paulo Costa as well. He looks phenomenal. Okay? Physically looks great, and on top of not just looking great, there's a lot of things that come to mind. I think he understood that speed's going to be a factor against Luke. Luke has a difficult time with guys that are fast. Michael Bisping doesn't have the most power. But it's about getting to the chin as fast as you possibly can against Luke. If you can get there, it could be over quick. And so he understood that if he stayed bigger, he'd probably be a little bit fat. He'd be a little bit slower. And that would give Luke an opportunity and a chance to maybe get this fight to the ground. Or when he did get taken down, it'd be harder for him to get up and carrying all that extra weight. Sure, he's physically strong, but Luke is the better grappler. Paulo Costa, I think, is the harder puncher, which I think is going to be evident. But can he take Luke's kicking? Because he had a hard time, was kind of flustered a little bit with Izzy's kicks. Yeah. Luke's got a very strong inside leg kick and body liver kick. He comes up quick with that.
Probably got the best question mark kick there is in the game.
In the game right now,
it's fast, and it is hard to detect when he's throwing it.
And when he sets it up, when he just throws it raw dog, it doesn't have the same effect. No. And Paulo Costa is not a tall guy. So getting that kick
not as tall
up
as
to
Luke,
the head.
but he's
6
Paulo
foot.
Costa is 6'2".
Is he really that tall?
Yeah, he's 6'2".
Can you look that up, Dave?
6'1", 6'2". Has to be.
I was thinking only 6 foot. I don't know why. Because Luke's 6'3", pushing maybe 6'4".
Well, he's 6 foot here. Let me check.
Yeah, I think
he's 6'2" there. On Wikipedia, he's also 6 foot, so he's not 6'1" or 6'2".
Because Luke's 6'3" or almost 6'4". Luke's almost 6'4".
Yeah.
He's a tall guy.
I would say Luke's 6'3".
Yeah. And so that question mark kick may come into play, but he's got to set it up with the hands. It's really going to come down to, and I'm just going to be honest, and I've said this for the longest time. If Luke does not implement his wrestling and his grappling, he's going to have a long night. A really long night. It's going to be a very difficult night for him. The inside leg kicks, the body kicks, all those things will be effective for about a round and a half. But as he slows down and as he loads up, Paulo Costa's going to get the timing, and he's going to be able to land some shots on him. Okay, and now whether he can take him or not after this long layoff, we're going to find out. But that's why we fight the fight. But I really believe if this fight goes to the ground, Luke is leaps and bounds above him on the ground. Not even a little bit.
I'm going to say normally I don't like a long layoff. I like the long layoff for Luke in this. He needed it. Yeah, he needed time away from the sport. He needed time to get his head back in it. He needed time to clear his brain and allow it to recover from some of the damage that he had taken. So this is a good one, in my opinion, as far as the layoff. This was the right thing for Luke.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Absolutely, I agree with you. So, but let's go ahead and check and see what MyBookie has to say about the odds.
Look at that. A big plus 260 for Luke Rockhold. He is definitely the underdog in this at minus 333 for Paulo Costa. The over-under at 1.5. So the midway point is minus 131 for the over and a plus 108 for the under. And it could end in any round. So
yeah, yeah. I would, if I were you, I'd probably go on the under of a round and a half.
Yeah.
That's how I would go, because I think if Luke gets him down, he could probably sub him in a round and a half. But I think also Paulo could clip him and finish him in a round and a half.
Absolutely.
I could also see Luke dropping him to the body with something. Paulo Costa's a dog. He'll take some punishment. He'll take those shots. He'll try to walk through them. But Luke's got a nasty, nasty lever kick, especially with that back leg in that southpaw position. So that'll make for a fun fight. If I'm taking that bet, and I don't bet on my friends.
Yeah, so don't do it. So you just stay out of here.
Yeah, I stay out of this one.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm being honest. Luke Rockhold has got a lot to prove. Mm-hmm. But so does Paulo Costa.
That's true.
And mentally going into this, I look at both. I think they're both coming in with the right attitudes, the right mental outlook. And to sit there and give me an ex-champion in Luke Rockhold at plus 260, I'm going to go with Rockhold. I'll put less money down to try to, get something out of it. I'm not saying that Costa absolutely has ways of winning this and could walk away from this easily as the winner, but I'm going to go with Rockhold.
Interesting. All right. Hey, let's move right into the next one, which is Jose Aldo versus Merab. How do you say his last name? Davashvili?
Davashvili. Dude, it's all that Georgian stuff because there's all kinds. Remember, I did the whole thing on the arm wrestling. That guy's name is Levon Sagnashvili. It's horrible. I'm terrible at it.
That's a lot. That's a lot of Vilis in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of Vilis. But Merab is I love Merab as a fighter. This guy, you talk about a guy that is a junkyard dog that just keeps coming forward and stuff. This is his moment right here. This is it. Yeah, this is his moment. I'm telling you right now. I'm not saying he's going to get the win.
There you go.
But I'm telling you, this is his moment, because if he does, he has set himself up, because he's had some big wins in the past already. And he's a gamer, man. He comes after you. He will take shots. He's got very good takedowns. He is just a grinder on the top position. He does not stop. He doesn't get tired. But for 3 rounds, Jose Aldo's a beast, dude. Those 4th and 5th rounds at this point always worry me when it comes to Aldo, because he slows down a little bit. He gets a little bit tired, and things, might not work out for him that way. But he's got so much experience. He's so good still in the stand-up. He's so technically clean with the way he does things. I think that Merab is definitely going to get him down. It's the question of, can he keep him down? And how long does he do that for? And how much damage does he inflict if he does get him down at that point? But I'm looking at Aldo in this and going, man, he's been looking good. And if he can get a win against Merab, it's putting him right where he wants to be. He's worked himself back into being that one of those top contenders. This is a great matchup at the bantamweight. I mean, either guy could win, but I'm looking at it as, I don't know, somehow Aldo just keeps on singing to me. In 3 rounds, if it was 5 rounds, I think I would go with Merab. If it's 3 rounds, I think I'm going to go with Aldo.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Aldo, and the reason why I'm going to go with Aldo is because he does this beautiful thing on when guys just, when he knows they're going to wrestle, he spins off of it. So he lets you shoot in, he gives you the single leg, he lets you shoot in, he hard whizzes you off, he limp legs out, and he turns and faces you. So unless Merab is prepared for that type of takedown defense, it's not something you commonly will see in top-level wrestlers. They'll usually try to square up hips, shove the head between underneath the belly button there and under the hips, and sprawl and brawl. That's not what we're going to get from Aldo. Aldo's going to basically, he's going to let you get in on the single. He's going to give you kind of the single. He's going to hip, and he's going to backstep with that back leg.
Yeah.
And he's going to basically limp leg out, or he's going to sprawl you down a little bit, and then he's going to stand up and face you and try to knee your face off like he did with Chaz Mendez. And this is the thing. In a 3-round fight, I want to see Jose Aldo get started quickly with those kicks. That'll keep Merab at bay. with the takedowns, understanding that the knees up the middle and the kicks up the middle, as well as those calf kicks and those leg kicks, they're going to pay dividends on his explosiveness in the second and third round. If it takes Jose Aldo to the end of the second or the third round to start kicking, it could end up going Merab's way. John, he's got to get started on those kicks early. When he
has not done that in his last how many fights?
No, he has. He started late though.
Exactly. He hasn't started early. That's what I'm talking about. He hasn't started
early. Yes, you're correct. Okay. But he's gone to him when that's what's changed the fight for him. As soon as he went to the kick, he started working. It started
against
changing
Pedro
the dynamic.
Munoz. Take a look at what was happening there.
Exactly.
But started late with it. It was like, why were you not doing that earlier? But
yeah. No, I agree. It's almost like he needs his bones to warm up. It's like, but let's go ahead and jump right into see what MyBookie has on terms of these odds here. And we're going to go ahead and give you guys our best options of what we think you maybe should or shouldn't do. You guys can take our advice or not. But
right now, Merab is the favorite at a minus 121. Aldo coming in at a plus 100. The over at 2.5, so almost towards the end of the third round, is at minus 208. The under is at 2.5 with a plus 167. Can understand it.
Yeah, if you guys are me, I'm probably not betting this fight. But if I am, I may put $20 down on Jose Aldo. You know, I'm not going to go 100 or 200 or more than that. I mean, I'm not going to take the chance. Both of them could win. Both of them have a style that can win. I'm going to lean more towards Aldo because, like John said, in a 3-round fight, Aldo's got so much experience fighting the best guys in the world for so long. He'll find a way to get this win in a 3-round fight. 5 rounds, I would almost have to agree with you. The level of wrestling of Merab, the tenacity, the aggressiveness, the conditioning, the cardio, all of those things would have had me questioning whether Jose would have been able to get through the 5 rounds. This is going to go the distance. Outside of maybe Aldo catching him with a body kick, knocking the wind out of him, or a body shot, because he likes to hit that body shot. Merab's a dog though, so if I'm doing this, I'm probably only going about $20-$25 down on Jose Aldo. But make sure you guys do that at mybookie.ag, where they give you a little extra spending cash for your first initial deposit, and use our promo code weighing in. All right, let's move on to the next fight. This will be the last fight on the main card, and this is going to be
Marcin Tybura.
Shouldn't be the last fight, Josh.
Sorry.
2 more. Yeah.
Oh, there should be 2 more?
Oh, there's 2 more, yeah.
Okay.
Alexander Romanov. That dude has been walking through people, beating the shit out of the heavyweight division. Very tough dude. Good stand-up, a lot of power. But Marcin Tybura tends to be able to be the guy that he goes out there, he takes big shots, looks like he's the wheels are starting to come off the cart, and all of a sudden he comes back and he just turns the table and gets the win. I'm not too sure he's going to be able to do those same things against Romanov in this one. Romanov has been very, very good in the UFC. He's undefeated in his career, and there's a reason why. The dude hits like a truck.
He's going to walk forward. Yeah. It's going to collide in the middle. It's going to see who can take the shot. And I think Marcin Tybura has taken, I wouldn't say too many shots, but he's taken a little bit more damage in his career than Romanov. And so you're going to end up seeing the big tree trunk going down. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. I mean, but look, let's pull up MyBookie there, Dave. See what these odds are on here.
Oh, yeah, and that's why it's exactly the way it is. Plus 316 for Marcin Tybura and a minus 416 for Romanov. Yeah, I can't put money down on Tybura in this fight. I just don't think that his chin's going to hold up. Romanov just brings too much power. He's too accurate. He's too confident at this point in his career. Believes in himself. I think I would let this one go.
So you wouldn't even take a chance on the 416 then, knowing that he's undefeated, Romanov's undefeated. Seems like Tybura is someone that will just walk forward. He will be able to run into some punches. You wouldn't put the 416 down to win 100?
It's minus 416 for Romanov.
That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't put 416 down to win 100?
I hate putting down. When it gets to that, I'm a coward. I admit it. If it's like, if it's in the 2s, I'll do it. When I have to go, minus 2 something. All right, I'll do it. I go to the 3s and 4s and then, but it's like, no, goodbye. I'm out.
It's got
See
to
you
be
later.
a for sure thing, and it's never for sure in this sport.
Yeah.
Never for sure. All right, well, let's go into the next one.
Right, this one right here, Tyson Pedro.
Yep.
Tyson Pedro against Harry Hunsucker. Okay, here I will go with the 416 for Tyson Pedro. Just being honest.
Yes.
This is Tyson Pedro's fight. I'm just being honest. Nothing against Harry Hunsucker, but Tyson Pedro has got power. He's a better athlete. I just don't see Harry having a much of a chance other than landing a lucky shot in it. It's just not a fight he's meant to win.
I would have to agree with you, buddy. Tyson Pedro has been looking good as well, and I think that's one of those fights that I would probably do the same thing. What are the odds on that fight there, buddy? There you go. So Tyson Pedro is minus 769 versus plus 501.
Again, don't touch it.
Again.
That's just the way
Just leave it alone. Yeah, those are the fights you want to
leave it alone.
All right, well, hey, that's going to wrap up our Wait on the Odds for the main card. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in to us on that section of it. But, hey, let's go ahead and pick out some of these fights that you're interested in watching on the prelim card.
Very good fight between Leandro Santos and Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon coming off of being a hero and taking someone with a bat down and controlling the situation. But Leandro Santos, a lot of skill, great jiu-jitsu. Jared Gordon, just a solid fighter overall. He's going to want to keep this on the feet as much as possible. But it's a good matchup. This is a solid fight. I believe that is this the last prelim fight. There's a reason behind that. It's that good. But Sean Woodson and Luis Saldana.
Yes, that's the fight I was just looking at.
Sean Woodson is built so funky, dude. He is so tall for that featherweight weight class. What they pull up 6'2", 6'1",
4.
He's over 6
3?
foot. I know, man.
I was
and
thinking
his
6'3",
boxing,
6'4".
his stand up skills with his hands. 6'2". Yeah, dude. He doesn't look like he's got any speed, but he covers distance beautifully. He understands the range, and he's very accurate with his shots. Man, I really enjoy watching him fight. He is fun to watch. And you talk about tall, long, and lanky.
Yes.
There you go, boy. You've got your man right there, and that's a really interesting matchup. Luis Saldana, good fighter, but I just love watching Sean Woodson fight.
And then Miranda Maverick and Shauna Young.
Yep.
I like Maverick.
Yeah, but she's coming back. She's had some tough fights though.
Yeah, she's tough though. She's fun to watch. She makes mistakes. But that's what makes it
She's
fun,
young.
right, John? She's
young.
You get a lot of these young, talented fighters.
How old is Miranda Maverick? Pull it up, Dave. I want to know how old she is.
Who is the other female fighter we watched? 25. We watched that 20-year-old fight on Saturday, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
And she was on the main card, and we were all questioning ourselves. Why are they on the main card?
Boy,
why?
that was a hell of a
we
fight.
found out why. We found out why they were on the main card.
Yep.
That was a great fight. Any other fights on this prelims you want to see? I felt like they spent all their money on the top 3 fights.
They did, and I don't blame them.
No, exactly.
I don't blame them.
And I'm not mad at them. You guys,
Nope.
I'm not mad at them. As long as I get to see the fights I want to see, man, which is
These
what
are
I
all
care
freebies
about.
anyways. That's okay.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up our UFC talk. And UFC 278, correct?
278.
All right.
Because we're at 280, baby.
280. We've passed. We have already passed
them.
the UFC. I'll let you know. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about some news. How about, Dave, you jump into that for us, bud?
Yeah, so we got this first fight right here.
Hey, say it with a little bit more energy, please. Can you say it with some energy? John
Yes,
over
sir.
here,
Yes,
We have
sir.
this first fight right here. Dominick Reyes versus Ryan Spann is official for UFC 281 in November.
Nice.
Very nice fight. And a good match for, I believe, a very good match for Dominick Reyes to come back on. Ryan Spann, for the most part, likes to stand up. Dominick Reyes likes to stand up. You might see him use some wrestling and stuff, but this is the kind of fight when you've had that layoff that Dominick Reyes has had. This is the kind of fight that I like to see them come back, match him up with someone that does something similar to him. Ryan Spann, tough dude. I think Dominick overall a little bit better overall, but I'm kind of a homer in this because I've been watching Dominick since he was an amateur, and I enjoy watching him fight. But this is a good matchup.
Yeah. Huh. I'm interested to see how Dom looks when he gets back. That's what I want to really see. I want to see, is he hesitant on the feet? Has he been working on new things? I mean, he's got a big body frame. Him on top of somebody, if he can learn how to wrestle and grapple a little bit and get to those top positions, just have a couple submissions in his back pocket. Use that leverage you have. Luke Rockhold is a fantastic grappler, but he knows how to use his leverage because he's so long for the weight class. If Dom can start to figure that out, different types of kimuras, because you're so long and you have the leverage you possess with, your long limbs, learning how to, when you get to mount on someone, leg ride them or grapevine them out. So it makes it easier for you to really stretch them out and make them carry all your weight. Little tiny things that make a big difference when you're talking about a 3-round or a 5-round fight against someone who's explosive, especially like someone like Ryan Spann. On the feet, he's dangerous. Dom is dangerous as well. But if this fight hits the ground and Dom's on top, if he's got a little bit in his back pocket that can hold him down and make him carry the weight, this is a different fight when they get back up to the feet.
Yeah.
Because we know Dom can go hard for 5 rounds. We know he can.
Yep.
So it's, him coming back after a layoff. It hasn't been as long as Rockhold's. It's been, a little over a year, I think?
More than July of last year.
Yeah, it was
July of
Yuri.
last year. So, so it's July of last year. That's still a long time, but he probably started training for this fight sometime in May or June, started getting himself back on track and been training.
He's been switching it up, going different places. He was at Extreme Couture for a while, sparring with Sean Strickland and a couple different guys there and stuff, but he's been doing good from what I've been told. So
good. I want to see him come back. He's a likable guy.
Super nice guy.
Big fucking guy too, by the way.
Tall, long.
6'8", right? 6'8"?
No. 6'4".
No.
Yes.
Dom Reyes is taller than 6'4".
6'4".
Look that up. 6'4". You're saying 6'4"?
I'll
say 6'6", 6'6" or 6'8". I got him confused with somebody else.
6'4".
Ah, you motherfucker. Damn it. Who was the other tall guy?
Lucked out on that one.
There was Gus. Gus was
6'5".
6'5".
Yeah.
So you got Dom, you got Gus. God, there was another tall guy, I thought. Not Santos. How tall is Anthony Smith? 6'2"?
6'4".
6'4". Okay, maybe it was him.
6'4".
Maybe it was him. I don't know, man. All right, next.
Shane Burgos parts ways. Tested free agency and then went to sign with PFL.
This one right here is one that the UFC screwed up because he wanted to stay, and obviously it was the pay difference, and you got to. God bless Shane Burgos for being smart, because this is about taking care of your family, getting all that you don't, when your fighting career is done, you could have put stuff away, invested money. Look at Dana White says big mistakes were made over here in letting shit. Yep, I agree with Dana. That was a guy you wanted to keep. Now the one question is, Josh, and we talked about this, Shane Burgos is big for 145. I mean, massive. And the one thing that the PFL can do that is difficult is it makes you fight not back to back, but you're going from one fight to the next. You're not really getting a chance. It can be a 6-week window or so that you're fighting within. And so is that weight cut going to become difficult for him? I don't think he's ever missed weight before, but he is a big 145 round. And I'm just wondering, is that going to cause him any problems? But I think it's a smart move for him. You got to go where you are going to benefit the most with your pay. And, he's had a great run in the UFC. It's time to go make big money, and that's what the PFL is going to pay him. So good for him.
Can you click on him and see how old he is?
I think 32.
Dave, I believe, honestly, their contracts are season by season.
31.
He's 31.
Yeah.
John, he may come back.
Yeah. He absolutely could.
He wins this thing, he'll be a multimillionaire, and he comes back and he does what Anthony Johnson did.
Yeah.
Instead of paying me this, I want you to pay me this. Now I've got a world title on my name that you can market, that your guys can potentially say that they beat.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and you're going to get a lot of people. Anytime someone leaves the UFC and goes to another organization, they suck. Okay. First
Shane
off,
Burgos does not suck.
no, he does not. Okay. The dude is a stud. And, the whole thing of, you have people that have gone, and there's good competition everywhere. And Shane could lose. But I tell you, and we talked earlier, I said the 145s in the PFL, that's where they have the best talent. You're taking a look at guys like Chris Wade and Brendan and Bubba, and you had Lance Palmer before, and all the guys. 145 is they're deep. That's where they're deep. But he fits right in there. I think he's going to go in there and do well.
Yeah, he'll have a problem with that. The one Russian that beat Chris Wade last year. That's not in it this year. If he comes back, if he ends up re-signing with them and comes back, I think he'll have a problem with him.
Moldvid.
That would go ahead.
Moldvid.
Yeah, whatever his name was.
That's his first name. I can't say his last name.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's good. He's got a little bit of a problem, I think, with Chris Wade too, because Chris Wade's a dog. He's getting better. Bubba may be a little intimidated by his striking, but Bubba could take him down. He's gonna have to work for it real hard. But can he hold him down? That's the next question. Shane is, like you said, is big for the weight. He possesses power. He's got a great chin, and he will come forward and try to implement his will on you. He will try to bully you around that cage. And I think it was good for him to leave now. At 31 years old, say he fights there for 2 years, 2 seasons. He comes back at 34 as a multiple time champion, or even just one time.
Yeah.
Now that makes him even more marketable to come back into the UFC and say, hey, I won this title over here. And now you want to say your champion is better than these guys' champion or my title over here. Why don't we find out? And who knows how that featherweight division shakes out in a year or two, when he's gone.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well is that he won't be taking the amount of damage that some of these guys in the featherweight division will be taking by fighting the who's who every single time. You're not fighting with him. He's ranked in the top 12 or something like that in the 145-pound division. He's gonna be fighting those guys for the next 2 years if he ever gets to a title shot. He might as well go make all that money for 2 years, come back, and then make a run at it right towards the end. Makes sense. And I bet the UFC would pay him more if he ends up winning a title over there.
He wins the title there. I think he can come back to the UFC and make more.
He'll make more.
But
Absolutely.
I think Dana was absolutely right in saying we blew it as far as it should never have gotten to the point where he had the chance to test the free agency. They should have signed him earlier.
But every young fighter, if you guys are in your, 29, 28, if you're not ranked in the top 5 by the time you're 28, 29, 30, go do what he's doing. Bellator holds $1 million tournaments. PFL holds $1 million tournaments. Go test it out.
Make a lot of
Have
money.
fun. Make that money.
Yeah.
Come back.
But they don't get the fight as often elsewhere as well, right? Because didn't Juan Archuleta just put out something about how he doesn't get to fight that often, or basically kind of alluding to that, like how he doesn't get to fight that.
Okay,
so,
stop right there.
Also.
Stop. Do me a favor. Pull up Juan Archuleta's damn fucking record. He doesn't get to fight that often. A promotion like the UFC, like Bellator, like the PFL will guarantee you 3 fights a year. They're going to say, we must give you 3 fights a year. Now, you can turn those down so you get less, but to sit there and say, how many fights or anything, well, 2021, 2020, 2020, it's still 2022. He's got a fight coming up, so he's got 2 fights. I can understand why he wants a little bit more, but 2019, 1, 2, 3. I can't see the bottom when it's got some ad there. You're killing me. So 2018 before. So we had 3 fights in 2019. Sorry, not going with it.
Scroll down again. Okay, so we'll scroll back up again. There you go, his record. All right, so if you want fights, there was lags in here when he lost to Batriki, and then he wanted to get an automatic title shot. He didn't get that, so he waited for that. Then there was lags in there. Then he fought Henry Corrales, which, let me remind everyone, was one of the most boringest fights I've ever seen in my life. And I love me some Henry Krause, and I love me fucking Juan Archuleta. I like both of them a lot.
Love them.
Okay. And then his fight with Patchy Mix. Depending on how you looked at it,
Great fight.
I viewed it as an entertaining fight.
Great fight.
I thought it was an entertaining fight.
Great fight.
Some people didn't like the way the fight shook out, but he got his ass kicked for 2 rounds, and he came back and dominated the 3 rounds. And then very impressively on the feet and did a great job. Mix had his back for the first 2 rounds and should have finished him a couple times and just couldn't get it done. But overall, to me, I thought it was a great fight. Then he just got totally dismantled by Sergio Pettis. He got dismantled. And then
he also got injured.
Stotts.
He broke his foot and stuff, so there's going to be time off.
Yeah, so then on top of that, then he fought Rafael Stotts, and he was winning that fight up until he got clipped. I mean, it was close.
He was looking good.
I had him slightly. Yeah, he was looking really good up in that fight.
No, he was looking really good. He was winning that fight.
But complaining about that you don't get enough fights. Look, dude, they've got 300 something people else on their roster. They've got to fight also, and then if they've offered you a fight at all, they can go ahead and extend you. And it's no different than any other organization, UFC, PFL. And PFL, you miss. Like you have to wait till next year.
Yeah.
Like if you're missing the weight class, if you're missing the tournament fights, you're out, man. You're out. Just lost your money. So
I guess you could just argue there that it's just there's much less shows, right? When you have like similar size stages in PFL with Bellator, but they have Bellator almost doesn't do anything in the summer or over the Christmas holidays, and then PFL, you're gonna fight
season,
so.
Yeah, you're gonna fight. Yeah, they're right. You're right. You are right with that. Look, with Bellator, the summers, and I think for a lot of promotions, the summers they try to slow it down. At least the UFC used to. Now they have to guarantee ESPN a certain amount of shows. But
there's no slowdown with the UFC.
Yeah, they used to have to slow it down because June, July, and August are slow
people are on
months.
Vacation. Yeah.
No one watches. Very rarely do people tune in. The numbers are so low during the summer, and so and then the same thing with January. That's why the UFC normally only has 1 show. They might have a small show now in January, and the same thing in December. They have usually 1 big show or like 1 big pay-per-view because they know that everyone's spending all their money already. So let's just have 1 show, and then they do a bunch of free shows now. It all used to change. I mean, it all did change. But that's the game plan, I think, for a lot of these promotions right now because it's slow during the summer. So, anyways,
how slow is it? How slow is it?
It's pretty slow.
Product because
super slow.
UFC and WWE both run through the summer, and like those are popular because of the content that they're putting out. So is it the quality of content that's affecting viewership in the summer?
No, I want you to actually look at their actual TV ratings and see how they dip during the summer, especially like July and August. From the 4th of July, pretty much from Memorial Day weekend to Labor Day weekend, it's kind of dead. But it slows down, but it drastically slows down between July and August because a lot of families are taking their kids on vacation through August. So the TV, now everyone can kind of stream it.
School's starting up.
Yeah, so they're going on vacation for school. They're going to the Grand Canyon. They're going to Texas. They're going to Florida.
Don't go with places you're going.
They're going all these places, right? But I'm saying like they're going all these different places because their kids are having to return to school. And then during that July, from 4th of July on, it's kind of slowed down. And then it picks back up once the kids get back in school. It kind of gets slow again around Labor Day weekend, but then it goes back up to picking up. Once the kids get back on a routine, once families get back on, okay, the kids are back in school. I have to work until 5, pick up the kids from daycare, pick up the kids from sports. Okay, it's on a routine. Everything is based on go home, just watch TV. Kids are doing homework. I either watch fights. It's on a routine. All right, let's move on. Next.
All right, you guys wanted to dialogue a little bit on this Bo Nickal situation. I know there was quite a few things about it. Brendan Schaub said his piece. Luke Rockhold said his piece. Bo Nickal talked about Izzy. So I guess you guys can kind of just pick up whatever you want.
Well, okay, so go ahead and tell us. Can you read out what Luke Rockhold said? And what did Schaub say?
Schaub had said how this was basically like the biggest star that the UFC could pick up right now. I know that he technically hasn't signed. He did the Dana White's show. Mm-hmm. But this is like the biggest star that UFC have the opportunity with in a long time. And Brendan's good at talking things up, and he really like when I heard him talking about it, I was like, oh, okay, I better go find out what the deal is here. So
okay, let's go. We have our show, the 5-round main event, and one of the fights that I told you, hey, you know, you had to think of which fights you look forward to. Bo Nickal, you know, and it was Barago was his opponent. I go, look, Bo Nickal's the real deal. Bo Nickal is a phenomenal wrestler out of Penn State, and he has been working as a fighter for the last several years. Look, American Top Team, Dan Lambert opened up an ATT in Happy Valley there, College Station, excuse me, which one I'm screwing up, at Penn State, right outside of it, because of Bo Nickal. All right, the guy is going to be something. Dana knows he's going to be something. This whole thing with, oh, Dana didn't sign him from the Dana White Contenders thing. Stop, okay? Dana's already taken care of that. They know that. All he's trying to do is get him more fights before he gets into the UFC. The guy can wrestle his ass off and will wrestle most guys' ass off in the cage. And he can also hit submissions. He can also, you know, smack people around. He's good. But to put him in the position of right now that he can beat Izzy, big difference. Big difference. And nothing against Bo Nickal and the amount of competition that he's done, but he's not in any fashion in the MMA world has he experienced the things that he needs to experience to take on someone like Izzy at this point. You know, maybe in a couple, maybe, you know, 3-4 more fights, maybe that's all he needs. But, you know, is Bo Nickal good? Bo Nickal's good. Is he, you know, the second coming of Christ? No. But he's going to be a great fighter, no doubt about it. And the UFC is they've already got him signed.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant what Dana's doing. He understands what kind of talent he is. He understands how marketable he is. It's not very often you get a talented, good wrestler who can talk on the mic and has already started working towards his progressions of submissions and wrestling together, and as a ginger. I mean, let's be real. I can market a ginger. It's the easiest thing I can do. It's not like he's not going to be recognizable walking through the crowds. And what I love about him, honestly, there's no hate. These fighters got to stop hating on him. He's got 3 fights. Leave the freaking guy alone. Even my boy Luke, man. Luke, I love you. We shouldn't even have this conversation. Let the kid enjoy his moment, these moments on the Dana White Contender Series. He will eventually get towards the top. But you will be long gone, Luke. Same with some of these other guys. Izzy might even be long gone by the time he gets there. Izzy might. That's how long it's going to take this kid to get there. It's going to take him some time. Yeah. I mean, he's going to need that division is good, and the majority of the good wrestlers like he is will be able to get there a little bit faster. But I think Izzy and Luke, Izzy will be maybe still lingering, maybe in the 205s by then, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Luke, I think, will be gone. I think, you know, a couple fights. I think Luke may be gone in about 3 or 4 fights. This is never going to happen. I don't know why people are throwing so much shade towards him. Young guys like this, I look at him a little bit like, what's the other kid? The kid, Sean O'Malley. Of course they talk big, but this is what gets them some money. This is what brings a little bit of notoriety. But Bo's got a good wrestling background pedigree. Not only that, he's learning the submission game. He's dominant from the top position. The guy he fought was nowhere near on his level. We all know that. The betting odds on him was what, minus 1,100 or 2,200 or something like that. Something crazy. You know, but let's not forget, they just had betting odds on Pat Downey's last fight too. When he fought in Bellator, was minus 4,400 or 4,800.
75.
Oh, sorry, 7,500. The biggest betting odds ever in history. Difference in betting odds ever. So it's like, look, he understands what he has, and I've met him a couple times at some of, like, DC had a party for something, and he came with a couple other guys. And he has a swagger about him. He has a marketable swagger about him. And all these top-level fighters need to leave him alone. Let him do his thing. Let him build it up. Let him bring more notoriety to your weight class, by the way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, that's what he's doing. He's letting everybody know that you guys are on notice. But guess what? You're on notice in like 2 years, 3 years. So just sit back, watch what he does, and see if you can beat him. If he does get there, which I think he will end up eventually getting to the top. It's just going to take him some time. This isn't going to happen. Look how long Aaron Pico, to me, Aaron Pico is a better wrestler than him. Okay,
he is a better wrestler than him.
Aaron Pico's a better wrestler than him.
But I mean, different weights. But
when it came down to the fight, look what Aaron had to go through to understand how much more serious he had to take it. This isn't wrestling. And Aaron's made those changes. Pico's made those changes. And look at where he's at now. He's a fucking savage. He is a savage on the ground. He's a savage on the feet now. He's been a savage on the feet. He's now learning how to put it all together with his wrestling and submissions and his striking. Bo Nickal is going to need that same amount of time. Give him the time, and you're going to see, I think, someone who's great. I think you're going to see
someone special.
You're going to see a special fighter. Now, I'm not going to put him up at the pedestal just yet, like John was saying, but I'm going to put him up there in terms of he's got the ceiling.
He's got the it factor, baby.
Yeah, he does. He has the it factor, and to get to the ceiling it's there. Like the ceiling's so high on him. All right, next.
All right, last thing we're going to talk about is the pay from this past weekend. So there's some backlash in Dana White based on the pay that came out from UFC San Diego. I don't want to read that headline because it's kind of, not something.
But who said it? Who said that headline?
It came from a fan.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But there was like a bunch of stuff like that. Basically people saying they're not happy about Dana White and the way he's paying fighters. So I don't really that the comment, it doesn't really make sense, right? Because you look at someone like an Angela Hill who got 190,000 and, she's not the one selling that show this past weekend. Just being honest. And then, what was the other one, John? Gerald Mearshart at 146,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, Cheeto walked away with 300.
Yeah, but they had to win. All three of those have something in common. They all won.
So there is another piece of this I want to throw into the mix. Back to Josh's boy, who seems to be really vocal right now. He made this comment, which I actually think is really interesting. Normally, I don't agree with fighters complaining about money, but he says the valuation of the company is going up by fucking billions of dollars, and we're stuck at $50,000 bonus checks. Which interesting comment. It kind of ties in with this whole fighter pay thing.
Okay, so it does and it doesn't. It does and it doesn't. I agree with Rockhold on this situation. The 50 grand is bullshit. It's like, look, with the amount of money that they're raking in, I would say, John, let me go ahead.
I'm listening. I
would say, look, 50 grand's 50 grand. I get it.
Hello.
50 G's, baby. I get it. But it should be more. In terms of the bonuses. Now, in terms of the fighters pay, look, you guys knew what you guys were signing. I've said this over and over. You signed the contract. You and your manager said it was a good deal, and now you're going to complain about it, which none of these fighters are complaining about it, by the way. I don't think any of these fighters, I haven't heard one of these fighters complain about what they're making. But I'm simply saying, fans, if you guys are at home, you guys are sitting here picking fights, on the internet about who they should be getting paid more, and this is, like slave labor and all this stuff. These fighters are getting to live their dream. They love what they do. They don't have to work in a cubicle, probably like half of you guys complaining for them. Or they're not out there pounding concrete, doing that type of shit. They're in the gym, having fun with their buddies, training, getting better at their craft. This is what they want to do. So when I look at this also, John, in other ways, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan. Patrick Mahomes is making millions.
Hello.
Millions.
Is everybody on that team?
No. And when you look at, I've never sat down and done this. Maybe I will try and break down what the difference in pay is for him versus the difference in pay for the ones that are on the practice squad.
Oh,
that's
difference in pay.
That's what I'm saying. So per, and when you break it down, are we looking at what the numbers are? We're looking here.
Yeah,
they're all on the team. The practice squad still helps get that team ready. Still helps those players every single day have someone to drill with, have someone to run plays on. I mean, so what's the difference in ratio? I want to check and see. You have someone who's making, let's say, I don't know, let's say Nate Diaz making $1 million. Okay. And then the other ones down here, I see a couple on here for 12 and 12, it looks like. A couple of them made 70 and 70. A couple made, they're getting a little bit extra cash. 24 and 12 and 12 to win.
You had the two ladies that were on the main card in Yarugi and Lucindo. Yasmin Lucindo and Yasmin Yarugi. Yarugi made $50K, 25 and 25.
Okay.
While Lucindo got 12, meaning she was going to get 12 and 12.
Yeah.
She's 20 years old.
Yep.
That was her first fight in the UFC. And that's their normal thing is, unless you come in on the contenders, which is even less, that's not a bad, coming. She's not the one that people are coming to see. But now after her fight, she fights another fight like that. This is how you end up getting more money. And it's like, you're not going to just start off getting money. When you're looking at some of these, Josh, you're looking at fighters that have been there. The Angela Hill. How long has Angela Hill been in the UFC?
She's been there a long time.
Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey did the tough, and she was on that show, basically as a Muay Thai fighter. She's been there ever since. She has answered the bell every time that they've needed somebody. She jumps in all the time. And so,
take this into consideration, John. She jumped in on short notice for this fight.
Thank you. And so you look and you go, yeah, and she deserves all of it. I'm happy for her.
Yep.
Talk about equity of pay. Well, people are upset that she made more than Dominick Cruz. She won. I'm sorry. I 190K. Congratulations, Angela Hill. You deserve every cent of it. Nina Nunes, 80K, 40 and 40. Hey, I look at it, Mowgli, 100K, 50 and 50. How long has he been in the UFC now?
Yep.
So, you can take a look at some of the ones with less and say, that person's only been in the UFC. This is their first fight. This is their second or third fight. Look, do I want to see fighters making more money? Always. But to sit there and say that this is bad, it's not bad.
No.
It's not bad.
Like, I was trying to split the difference. I think the bonuses should be more.
Okay, and I look at the bonuses.
Bonus.
It would be nice to sit there and say
exactly.
the bonuses are more.
Exactly.
But no one guaranteed anyone. That's just them saying, hey, we're going to give these out for you have fight of the night. You have, performance of the night. So I'm like, hey, 50K, baby. I love it. Man, do it. But, it's a matter of, sure, would I like to see it 100? But it's not coming out of my pocket. It's coming out of their pocket. I'm not saying they can't afford it. I know they can afford it. But I look at other fight promotions. I don't see them giving out those bonuses. Yeah. So,
well, just so everyone understands, though, too, is that just because they give out the 50K bonuses, every single time I got home, I got a check. It was a separate check. Yeah. Some of them were worth a lot, and some of them weren't as much as I would like them to be, but they were still worth a lot. And that was every single fight. That was every single, even the ones I lost, I still got money. I still got checks. So what you see on this on paper, and it's no different.
It's not always everything.
No, it's not. And what you see, like, people are like, oh man, you fought in Bellator for like 10 grand. Dude, I wouldn't get out of fucking bed for 10 grand. Get the
Josh, you did. You fought in Bellator for 10 grand. You showed me the check. I know it's a fact.
I didn't leave the UFC making what I was making at the UFC, and what you guys saw in the UFC wasn't what I made either, just so you guys are aware. And that's the thing. A lot of these fighters, they're making more on the backside that you're not seeing. And so when it's reported, same thing with Bellator.
And that's, people think that you have no idea. Bellator pays some people a lot of money, but it's no one's business. This whole thing right here, the fact that Dana does pay. If you think Dominick Cruz is just getting the 175, okay, I have some incredible beachfront property in Kansas that I can sell you right now. Okay,
I love it.
People, trust me, like Josh is saying, there will be a check, and it'll be a sizable one. Mm-hmm. Is it anybody's business what you make, Josh? Is it anybody's business what I make? You know whose business it is? PAs and Elaine's. That's it. Yeah. That's the way it is.
I love Miss McCarthy.
Well, they're the ones that take it also.
Yeah. All right, well, hey, that's going to wrap us up today. Let's go to WayneInPodcast.com. Pick up some of our merch. We got this new shirt that just dropped out, too, by, what is it called? The guy who
Rebellion or Rebel Lion.
Rebel Lion. I want to keep saying.
That. Yeah. I like that.
Rebel Lion or Rebellion. Is it Rebellion? Rebellion artwork.
Rebellion.
It's
yeah.
Rebellion artwork, and then it's
Rebel Lion.
Rebel Lion artwork. I like that. They did our 5 rounds main event design as well. Check them out. Great work. And they've also designed our 2 shirts on there for a 5-round main event t-shirt, and our new shirt, which is, what is it called? 10-8, 10-9, or 10-9, 10-8?
Yeah.
Where Josh is
10.
Where Josh is just dishing out 10-8s to Big John all day long, just dishing out 10-8
That's
losses
right. I'm
to
winning
him.
10-8. Thank you very much.
Gosh, that's not how it works, buddy. You know that. Gosh. I thought you knew better. You wrote the rules.
I don't
Come
know
on.
shit.
All right, guys. Well, hey, hopefully you guys enjoy this show. We try to come with the right energy. It's not 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning when we normally film. We're filming it at night.
Do it at normal time.
Yeah, and I just got some food in me, so I'm feeling a little pumped up. And, hey, want to make sure you guys understand, when you guys go to our channel, hit the subscribe button. Some of you guys have been watching our stuff and not hitting subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, thumbs up. And also on our links channel with the description down below.
Prescription,
Prescription.
Same
Hit
thing.
that link down below. Takes you to our shorts channel. Hit that subscribe button there. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And John, take us away.
For everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. We hope you have fun. Good luck if you are going to bet on either the PFL or the UFC that's coming up. A lot of stuff going on. Be kind to someone out there. Have a good night, and we will see you.